regional organization is set to hold a special meeting on Monday.
Having endured life as a widow for several years following the death of his wife in a car accident, Zimbabwe's Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangira's decision to tie the knot again has ignited torrents of criticisms. And two members of parliament in the Democratic Republic of Congo have been accused of aiding the M23 rebels. Let's now shift our attention to this report that looks at the news around the African continent.
Tensions remain high in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the situation in the east of the country has everyone's attention. Two opposition deputies have been accused of aiding the M23 rebels. But the opposition says the series of cases brought against them constitute intimidation. Around 20 opposition deputies want to take President Joseph Kabila to court for high treason for secret agreements that he had allegedly signed with Rwanda. Exactly 1 month after 34 miners were killed by police in Marikana in South Africa, tensions remain high. Protests continue in the mining region, which is vital to South Africa's economy. Police blocked a march by striking miners on Sunday. The protesters were peacefully heading to a police station in northwestern Rustenburg. They were demonstrating against the previous day's violence. In an early morning raid on Saturday on workers' hostels, police seized piles of weapons. In Chad, striking civil servants have gone back to work after a 2-month slowdown. They have suspended their strike for mediation by religious leaders between the government and the unions. Tensions are very high between the authorities and the unions in Chad. Public workers are demanding salary increases. Without them, they threaten to close all the administrative offices as well as the hospitals. Zimbabwe's Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai got married after being a widower for several years. Earlier, an ex-lover of Tsvangirai's filed a complaint and got the marriage cancelled. Originally, Tsvangirai planned to marry under the country's monogamous laws, and his lawyers could do nothing to oppose the blocking. But Tsvangirai got around the court order that got his marriage cancelled by marrying under the alternative customary law that allows for a man to have as many wives as he wants.
The head of the Roman Catholic Church has urged the warring factions in Syria to embrace peace and harmony. Pope Benedict XVI was speaking before thousands of Christians and Muslims in Beirut, the Lebanese capital, as part of his 3-day visit to the country. As we hear in this report, the Pope urged the youths of Syria to stay in the country despite the rise in Islamic fundamentalism.
Thousands flocked to Beirut's seafront early on Sunday morning to take part in an open-air mass.
The visit of the Pope is a very good step and a hope for Lebanese to stay in Lebanon and to live together in love and peace.
Shouts of joy and a sea of yellow and white flags, the colours of the Vatican. It's the highlight of Pope Benedict XVI's 3-day visit to Lebanon, the first papal visit in 15 years. Members of the Christian community as well as Muslims gathered to listen to the Pope's speech. In it, he appealed to the crowd to be peacemakers and prayed for an end to the violence in neighbouring Syria.
I appeal to the international community. I appeal to the Arab countries that, as brothers, they might find workable solutions which respect the dignity, the rights, and the religion of every human being.
The Pope called for peace between warring factions, as well as different religious communities throughout the Middle East. He also urged members of the Christian community, both old and young, which is deeply divided over the Syrian conflict, to stay in Lebanon, despite a rise in Islamic fundamentalism.
You are meant to be the protagonist of your country's future, and to take your place in society and in the church.
In a visit that centred on the promotion of peace, the Pope also reached out to moderate Islamists in a bid to combat religious extremism in the region.
We now take our second break station.
Millions of viewers around the world. It is the most prestigious club competition in European and world football. This is the European Champions League starting September 18, 2012. Sponsors invited. It is a tournament that captures millions of viewers around the world.
All you have to do is to text comedy, C-O-M-E-D-Y, on 2020 200, 30 30 300, 60 60 600, and 999 0909. Participants are invited in Mandinka, Wolof, and English. Gambia's funniest, coming soon. Just text.
Welcome back, and over now to our top news. The President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, has reiterated the importance for strong legislation in the maintenance of peace and security. The Gambian leader was addressing a crowd of over 10,000 youths who gathered at Kanilai Festival Ground at the end of a day's work on his vast field on Saturday. Abrunjai reports the meeting was preceded by a presentation of farm implements worth over $100,000 to the Kanilai farms by stakeholders in the tourism fraternity.
The day began promisingly, ushering in hopes and a sense of accomplishment in the thousands who made the journey to the cultural capital of the Gambia. There was this strong feeling and urge for a youth-led initiative, and it was indeed, both in the fields and in the compound of the President, where members of the tourism fraternity gathered for a worthwhile gesture.
We are very pleased and delighted to be in Kanilai today. We work very closely with the farm manager to identify your needs. We didn't just want to come and give you something. We needed to know what your requirements are. So from there on, we went ahead and ordered this weeding hose you are seeing here. They're all locally made by a Gambian. They're very strong and they're very durable. They're going to last long. So we invested in this weeding hose. We also decided to get a very good quality cutlass, which are $400 in quantity. Then we have these rakes. The rakes are also very strong, also locally made. Then we have the garbage bins. The garbage bins can be used for garbage, or they can also be used after the weeding or the harvest. You can also use them if they're kept clean to move either the weeds or to move the produce from the farm to the store. So we decided to do this to complement His Excellency's effort for Back to the Land call.
The items, valued at over $100,000, were received on behalf of the Kanilai farms by Wali Senghor, who told the minister that his office will make sure the equipment are used wisely.
These materials are really needed in Kanilai today, especially today. We have thousands of youths who are here to give a helping hand to His Excellency, the President. And most of them are without tools. So these tools coming today definitely are here at the right time.
And in reflection of his points, the President's farm was virtually inundated with people. With a solid presence, the youths hope to echo in this single important moment that nothing and nobody is as important to them as their President.
We have different categories of youths, as you can see.
I'm really surprised. If you look at the turnout, some of them very young, some of them very old. How did you get them here?
Alhamdulillah, it was so easy. Working with young people, as I said to myself always, and all the people who work with young people, I advise them to go down to their level.
You have to be like them to bring them here.
There you go. That's the secret. You need to go down to their level. There, listen to them. And anytime you ask them to move with you, they will follow you. I think that has really helped in this, to get them all out here.
They finished this portion allocated to them in no time. Everybody who is anybody in the youth folk was present for the sole purpose of expressing solidarity with the Gambian leader in his farming undertakings. They massed up at the entrance of Kanilai to give His Excellency, who was arriving from Banjul, a befitting welcome. A proud man he was, standing tall through the overhead opening of his humor to share this special moment with the thousands who have technically stormed his home village by surprise. It soon turned into a manifestation, unplanned, but it went well, with voices of sound reasoning resonating across the square. Over a dozen young people spoke at the ceremony, including the newly appointed National Youth Mobilizer of the APRC, Pierre Minte, reassuring the President of their unflinching loyalty, while condemning the criticism made on the recent executions in the Gambia by President Jammeh's opponents within and outside the country.